Hi there, this is Tantian. Today we're talking about the current semiconductor shortage that the world is facing. Due to the recent development in the smartphone industry, there's an increase in demand for these semiconductors. And every smartphone started to include more semiconductors in them. This caused an increase in the demand for these products. Moreover, due to the current pandemic, many factories have to close down tentatively. This dramatically affects the supply of these chips. On top of that, the automotive industry led by Tesla is adding these chips into the new next generation EVs. Hence, in today's video, we will be talking about the current chip shortage and could we as investors capitalize on it. Before we continue, please smash the like button, and if you'd like to see more such videos, please subscribe to this channel. Firstly, let's talk about the current chip shortage in the market. As more industries started to adopt the use of chips for their daily needs, this greatly increased the demand. However, the pandemic caused the shortage of chips to increase even more as many factories are closed. On top of that, Texas is currently facing a cold winter that has caused a power shortage. Many families are living through the weather with no electricity. Given that the shortage of chips is not considered a basic necessity, these factories are forced to continue to be closed. This dramatically affects the supply of these chips. Currently, these chips are also traded as a commodity. This means that the companies producing these chips are not allowed to raise prices. Hence, they need to work with limited capital. Next, we're looking at the industries that are affected by this shortage. A chip shortage that started as consumers stock up on personal computers and other electronics during the COVID-19 pandemic now threatens to snarl car production around the world. On February 9, 2020, GM said that it will extend production cuts in the US, Canada, and Mexico under the middle of March. They joined a long list of many automakers, including Ford, Honda, and Ford Credit, who have warned investors of slow vehicle production because of the chip shortage. But it is not just the automotive industry that is struggling to get enough semiconductors to build their products. AMD and Qualcomm resell chips to most of the top electronic firms have noted the shortage in recent weeks. Sony blamed the chip shortage for why it is so hard to get a PlayStation 5 game console. Chips are likely to remain in short supply in the coming months as demand remains higher than ever. The Semiconductor Industry Association said in December last year that global chip sales will grow 8.4% in 2021 from 2020 total of $433 billion. That is up from 5% growth between 2019 and 2020, a notable jump given how large the absolute numbers are. Semiconductors are in short supply because of strong demand for electronics, shifting business model in the semiconductor world that create a bottleneck among outsourced chip factories, and effects from the US trade war with China that started under former President Trump. Automakers across the globe are expected to lose billions of dollars in earnings this year due to a shortage of semiconductor chips, a situation that is expected to worsen as companies battle for supplies of the critical parts. Consulting firm Alex Partners expect the shortage will cut $60.6 billion in revenue from the global automotive industry this year. That conservative estimates include the entire supply chain from dealers and automakers to a large tier 1 suppliers and their smaller counterparts, according to Dan Herrick, a managing director in the New York-based firm Automotive and Industry Practice. GM expects the chip shortage will cut its earnings by $1.5 billion to $2 billion this year. Ford Motors said the situation could lower its earnings by $1 to $2.5 billion in 2021. Honda Motor and Nissan Motors combined expect to sell 250,000 fewer cars through March due to the shortage. Semiconductor chips are extremely important components of new vehicles for areas such as infotainment systems and more basic parts such as power steering and brakes. Depending on the vehicle and options, experts say a vehicle could have hundreds of semiconductors. Higher priced vehicles with advanced safety and infotainment systems have far more than a base model, including different types of chips. One of the only outliers so far is Toyota Motor, which on Wednesday said it has as much as a 4-month stockpile of chips and was not immediately expecting the global shortage to hit production, according to reports. Even mighty Tesla is being affected by the shortage. Tesla CFO Zachary Griffin told investors during the company's quarter earnings call last month that the shortage as well as shipping port capacity may have a temporary impact on the automaker. In a public filing, the company said the impact of the shortage is yet unknown, saying the unavailability of any parts could affect production. Automakers are scrambling to get supplies of the chips, which has extremely long lead times due to their complexity. The shortage is far down the supply chain, causing a ripple effect throughout the entire network. Some automakers like GM and Ford have confirmed plans to partially build products and store them until supplies for the vehicles becomes available. Others had said they may look to directly purchase the parts from small suppliers, cutting out much of the current supply chain. So how is GM trying to remedy this shortage? GM is extending temporary shutdown at 3 assembly plants through mid-March due to a global shortage of the chips. The impacted plants are in Kansas, Ontario, Canada, and San Luis Potosí, Mexico. They produce the Chevrolet Malibu sedans and build Encore's Cadillac XT4, GMC Terrains, and Chevy Equinox and Terex crossovers. The shutdowns, which were initially supposed to last through this week, will be reassessed in mid-March. They are intended to ensure the company has enough semiconductor chips to produce its more profitable pickup trucks and SUVs. COX Automotive said GM's supply of the Malibu and crossovers are higher than what the industry typically considers healthy, meaning the automaker can afford to cut production at the plants. Semiconductors are extremely important components of new vehicles for areas ranging from infotainment systems to more traditional parts such as power steering. They are also used in consumer electronics. Secondly, we'll be talking about how the White House plans to remedy this issue. Top economics and national security officials in the White House has ramped up efforts to help the US auto industry fight a growing shortage of semiconductor chips and has forced production cuts worldwide. A White House spokeswoman said the administration of President Joe Biden has held meetings with automotive companies and suppliers to identify choke points and urge companies to work cooperatively to tackle the shortage, the spokeswoman said on Wednesday. The White House has also tasked US embassies with identifying how foreign countries and companies that produce chips can help resolve the global shortage and working with international partners and allies, urging them to deal with the current shortfall. The effort includes outreach to Taiwan's home of key chipmaker Taiwan Semiconductor to find ways to resolve the shortage. In a February 17 letter, Biden's top economic advisors Brian Dees thanks Taiwan's Economic Affairs Minister Wang Mihua for working to help to resolve the shortage, in coordination with the island's manufacturers. The White House spokeswoman said officials recognize steps must be taken to avoid future shortage, which is why the administration is launching a comprehensive review of critical supply chains to identify vulnerability and take steps like spurring increased US domestic production. Finally, we're looking at the stock movement of some of these chips companies and whether there is more upside in these stocks. Taiwan Semiconductor is up by around 60.37%. Qualcomm is up by around 19.38%. Nvidia is up by around 5.88%, and AMD is down by around 5.18%. Looking at the chart, we could see that across the 6 months, in the first 5 months, there was an increase in the stock price. This is due to many investors banking on the fact that these chips are able to be sold. However, due to both the pandemic and the Texas weather, this caused a shortage in the chips, which led to the decline recently. Hence, there's a chance that investors could come in and purchase shares in the company. In conclusion, I strongly feel that there's a huge potential in the semiconductor industry. However, the issue that I could find is that we do not know which company will capitalize in this industry. On top of that, the semiconductor industry is being valued as a commodity. As such, these companies could not raise the price as of when they like. Hence, there's a cap on the margins that these companies could get from their customers. As such, I'm waiting for a pullback before purchasing shares in this industry. With that, thank you, have a nice day. Goodbye.